So this is an update video for an owner, so I thought I'd just talk over it and share it on my Facebook page as well. So this gelding, I started working him on the pattern. He had a real light start on the pattern before I got him, and so just kind of taking over and moving forward. I find that he's wanting to kind of kick his hip out on the back of the barrel and not stay powerful, engaged, and driving forward with his hind end. And right there you can see he drops his hind end lead because he kind of kicks his hip out. So there are lots of dry work things that you can do for that, which maybe I should make a separate video on, but for this video I'm going to just talk about how I work with that on the pattern. So I feel like the best way to go about it for me anyways is to work on forward motion. If that horse keeps moving forward, driving forward, then he's going to automatically use his hind end, and that just really eliminates the problem altogether. I don't worry about being able to kick the hip in at a trot or a lope. While that is an important thing for the horse to know, and it's definitely something that you can do, I find that it's just kind of impossible to actually do that in a run or when you're going faster, and I'm sure there's better riders out there than me with no stretch, but personally I can't kick a hip in at a run. Like, it just doesn't work. I can keep my hips square and that makes a big difference, but it just works a lot better if I just teach that horse how to do it correctly on his own. So I start out doing like some medium-sized circles because I want him to think about moving forward around the barrel, not dropping his shoulder at the back of that turn, which if he drops his shoulder and the shoulder is down and weighted, then it can't move, so therefore the hip moves. So if I start out with a bigger circle, then they have so much ground to cover that they have to keep moving forward. So I lope until they're feeling like they're really engaged and really making that nice circle on their own and really driving forward. Like there, so he's driving forward. So then I go ahead and ask for the smaller turn and see if they'll do it right. That was really good right there. He finished tight but kept his correct hind lead. He was driving forward, using his hind end and being powerful, and that's what I wanted. So I stop horses a stride or two out of the barrel if I'm really working on something really specific like this. I'll just stop them because I want them to have a chance to realize that they did something right and have a chance to think about that. Whereas, if he did something really good that we've been working on and I go ahead and finish the pattern, then it's not really going to highlight it in his mind that was correct. So obviously you don't do this for their whole life because they have to run the pattern and not stop, but it makes a big difference when they're green and working on these things if they have a minute to stop right after they did something right and think about it. And it also helps them decompress. If I'm putting some pressure on them, it really helps them to decompress if I stop. Anyways, doing the same thing here. That was a really good finish. Now that I already talked over all that, I'll go back and talk about the actual barrel. He was kind of being stiff there, so I wanted to get his face soft first. It's not about where his head is, but I need him to be soft in my hands so that I can give him cues. So that's what I did first. So we picked up a lope. So right there you can see is where he kind of wants to drop his shoulder. I don't know if you can see it on that angle or not. And right there, he's wanting to drop into the turn instead of driving forward through the turn. And at this speed, it's kind of a subtle difference, but nonetheless, it's very important. So I don't want to feel that drop. I want them to run their hind end underneath of them, and I want them to collect their stride, but then they just drive forward through the turn. I never want to feel that drop. Because again, that's something that's only going to get worse with speed and with time. They're just going to keep leaning more and more. Pretty soon you have a shouldering, slicing horse and wonder when the heck that started. And the answer is it starts clear back here. So you can see there when he's going around that turn, he's just driving forward. He's bent. He's using his hind end. He's soft. Yet he keeps moving forward. There's no big drop point either at the pocket or behind the barrel. He just keeps driving forward. That's very fast. They keep their momentum. I think they're more likely to stay sound and avoid some injuries when they're not losing their hind end and slipping, stuff like that. So here, again, it's at this speed. I know it's kind of hard to even see it on the video, but whenever I pick him up like that, it's because I felt him getting stiff and or kind of trying to drop into that turn. So I want him to just move through that turn on his own. I will shape my horses a little bit, kind of just with my weight and my inside rein, but I never want them leaning. I never want to have to lift them out of that turn, hopefully. So I kind of put them on the honor system. I'll get just that nice little shape, just like that. You can see he's just got a nice little shape. I will do that, but the rest of it, they need to understand how to do it on their own. So I kind of let them make the mistake and then go ahead and fix it. That wasn't too bad there, but you can see anytime that I feel like that was not so good there. Anytime it feels like he loses his momentum or kind of gets stuck, I just drive him forward again. I might go out into a bigger circle just to give him more room to get moving again. But again, I let him make the mistake and then I correct it. You don't have to be mean to him or do anything drastic. Just ask him to do it again and try again until they do it correctly, and then reward and move on. So you can see here, I'm not hanging on his head. I'm kind of expecting him to stay, just have a nice little arc. You can see right about there, it's somewhere in there. He kind of gets a little stiff. I just ask for the softness again. I don't want to ever have to hold them. So here it's not going great there. So he still lost his hind end there, but he did at least keep moving, and he did switch his lead on that very last stride there. So I went ahead and stopped here and let him stop and think about that because that was pretty intense. And this horse is kind of sensitive. Like he doesn't like to be in trouble. So if ever I have to kind of get after him a little bit, I like to kind of stop and give him a second to come back down and know that I'm not mad at it, and then let him catch his breath and then go on. So since I was struggling with that barrel so much, I decided to just lope a couple left barrels, kind of work a little, excuse me, right barrels, just to kind of get a couple more repetitions. You can see he keeps losing that lead, so just let him pick it up again, keep driving him forward. That was really nice there. Try it again, just get a nice little shape, see if he'll just do it himself. That was beautiful. I didn't have to do anything that time. I just kept that little shape in him and he just drove through the turn by himself. Didn't drop in. That was very, very nice. Went ahead and stopped him again and let him catch his breath and think about that, reward him a little bit, pet on him. So that was good, so I decided to go ahead and go back to the actual pattern itself. Again, you can see I'm not hanging on his face, I'm just correcting when needed. That was really nice. There was a very slight drop there that I didn't love, but it was still much better than it has been today. He kept his lead. Like it was overall still quite an improvement, so I was okay with that for today. So I thought I'd just go ahead and lope in through with the intention of turning each barrel once. Went in at a normal distance and decided to just test him and see if he was learning anything, and that was all very, very nice. So since he did everything right, I only go around the barrel once, make it a little easier for him. Stopped a little front endy there and pushy on my hands, so I corrected that a little bit. So again, I'm kind of picky about my horses standing. For one, if I don't correct that now, they're just, down the road going to turn into the barrel horse that jog trots everywhere and that you can't drop the reins on, and I hate that. So, that preventing that starts here. I always want my horses to stand and relax because I need them to be able to relax and think about what we just did and kind of engage their brain. And if they won't stand still, then that just doesn't happen. Their wheels keep rolling and they never think about what you're doing, which this horse does not have a problem with that. He's very quiet and sweet, but I just wanted to point out that why that's important to me. So I was also kind of debating whether to quit here or not. I could have quit here since that last pass was very nice, but I could tell he was really understanding it, and he was on the same page with me, so I went ahead and decided to just load through one more time and get one more reinforcement, and I was pretty certain that he would be able to do it without opening another can of worms. So that was beautiful. I was so happy with that. He didn't drop at all. He gathered for the turn, he stayed soft, but he moved to the back of the turn, kept driving forward. Very happy with that. Same there. He lost a little momentum, but he kept pulling, pulled with his front end, pushed with his hind end. All was beautiful. He did lose his lead there, but it was only because he overfinished the barrel. It wasn't because he lost his hip or anything. He just kind of overfinished, and I just wasn't too worried about it because he kept driving forward, so I was okay with that for now. You know, needs to get a little better every day, but for what we've been working on, that was definite improvement, and I was very happy with that. So, and yeah, just another side note, big fan of getting off uncinching in the arena. We reward them right there. So again, if you just walk back to the barn and get off and uncinch and rub their face there, then you know they're not going to associate that with the barrel pattern. So especially if you're really working on something and putting some pressure on them, I really like to just get off right there and reward them. So yeah, hope that's helpful if you have a horse that's needing some help with driving through the turn and using their hind end.